descends from the 12th-century wizard Linford of Stinchcombe, a locally well-beloved and eccentric man, whose nickname, the Potterer, became corrupted in time to Potter. Linford was a vague and absent-minded fellow whose Muggle neighbours often called upon his medicinal services. None of them realized that Linford's wonderful cures for pox and ague were magical. They all thought him a harmless and lovable old chap, pottering about in his garden with all his funny plants. His reputation as a well-meaning eccentric served Linford well, for behind closed doors he was able to continue the series of experiments that laid the foundation of the Potter family's fortune. Linford was the originator of a number of remedies that evolved into potions still used to this day, including Skella Grow and Pepperup Potion. His sales of such cures to fellow witches and wizards enabled great wealth in the process. He left a significant pile of gold to each of his 7 children upon his death. Linford's eldest son, Hardwin, married a witch by the name of Iolanthe Peverell, who came from the village of Godric's Hollow. She was the granddaughter of Ignatus Peverell. In the absence of male heirs, she, the eldest of her generation, had inherited her grandfather's invisibility cloak. Iolanthe explained to Hardwin, a tradition in her family that the possession of this cloak remained a secret, and her husband respected her wishes. From this time on, the cloak was handed down to the eldest in each new generation. The Potters continued to marry their neighbours, occasionally Muggles, and to live in the west of England, for several generations, each one adding to the family coffers by their hard work. Occasionally, a Potter made it all the way to London and became member of the Wizengamot. Henry Potter, Harry to his intimates, who was a direct descendant of Hardwin and Iolanthe, served on the Wizengamot from 1913 to 1921. Henry caused a minor stir when he publicly condemned then Minister for Magic, Archer Evermond, who had forbidden the magical community to help Muggles waging the First World War. Henry's son was called Fleamont Potter, because it was the dying wish of Henry's mother that he perpetuate her maiden name, which would otherwise die out. He bore the burden remarkably well. Indeed, he always attributed his dexterity at dueling to the number of times he had to fight people at Hogwarts after they had made fun of his name. It was Fleamont who took the family gold and quadrupled it, by creating magical Sleekeazy's hair potion. He sold the company at a vast profit when he retired, but no amount of riches could compensate him or his wife Euphemia for their childlessness. They had quite given up hope of a son or daughter when, to their shock and surprise, Euphemia found that she was pregnant and their beloved boy, James, was born. Fleamont and Euphemia lived long enough to see James marry a Muggle-born witch called Lily Evans, but not to meet their grandson, Harry. They died from dragon pox within days of each other.